Hello, Gene Schwimmer here. Welcome to today's vlog. Some short items and then on to the main subject. The first item then that I want to cover, you already know this. Here's the headline. U.S. added 273,000 jobs in February, smashing expectations. Perhaps you didn't know about the smashing expectations part. And I didn't really read closely the news story. I'm guessing that because of the coronavirus, I would call it a panic. It's really a panic when you consider, at least in this country, the number of people who have actually died. And the people who have died, they've been mostly, I think almost entirely old geezers like me. So if you're younger than I am, I don't think you have a whole lot to worry about. And even if you are an old guy like me, so far, there has been one exception where a younger person died. We don't know, or I don't know, that person's total health condition. But for the older people who had died, they had other complications, for instance, heart problems, other things that made the problem worse, just like flu. It's very much like the flu. So another case where the public or the media made fun of Trump when he said it would get better when the weather gets warmer. He actually, I think, is going to be right, that as the weather gets warmer, in other words, as we get out of flu season, that the number of cases are going to go down. In fact, that's what China's reporting. Of course, you have to take China's figures with a grain of salt. But one very good indicator that we have been using is satellite photos from outer space, looking at the amount of smog over China, over their manufacturing areas. China is notorious for burning lots of coal and creating a lot of smog. So when the coronavirus was raging in the beginning stages, when entire towns were being quarantined, you saw almost no smog because people were not going to work. The factory workers were not going to work. Now the smog apparently is back. That should mean that Chinese are going back to work, which would seem to me to say that those figures are accurate coming out of China, or at least the trend that they are reporting that the spread of the virus has been arrested and is even being reversed, fewer cases. Next item, this is something I would have to say is good news, possibly great news for Republicans and conservatives, bad news for Democrats and liberals, but for everybody, surprising news, or at least it surprised the heck out of me. Here's the headline. California primary reveals bad news for Pelosi. GOP could win House back. Now that part is not really surprising. That's not the surprising part, because I would not be surprised if we won the House back. I am thinking of these 31 moderate or supposedly moderate Democrats who got elected in 2018, who flipped Republican seats. I have to think that a number of them would flip back. And you may recall that Democratic Congressman Van Drew in New Jersey switched parties when he voted against the impeachment of Donald Trump in the House. He voted against it and subsequently switched to the Republican Party. Having done that, the GOP now needs only 17 seats to take the House back. On that basis alone, I think it's hopeful for the Republicans. But the really bad news is, look at this other headline, 9-seat flip. And remember, the Republicans just need 17. 9-seat flip. Results of congressional races in California are terrifying for Democrats. That's what surprised me, that we are not talking about seats in purple areas or red areas that temporarily flipped. We are talking about ultra-liberal California. Beneath the cover of a contentious presidential primary race, this is Super Tuesday that we just went through, beneath the cover of a contentious presidential primary race gave establishment Democrats hope, the arguably biggest takeaway of the night is going to be buried. But Democrats took note, and the implications are terrifying for them. While Bernie Sanders and Joe Biden did battle on the national stage from coast to coast, several states were also holding primary elections for lower offices. There were some good storylines in high-profile Senate races that will supplement Biden versus Sanders talk in the news cycle. But the part you likely won't hear much about was California's primary for all 54 congressional seats. Why won't you hear about it elsewhere? Because 9 Democratic seats can clearly be flipped, and the one Republican seat in jeopardy seems poised to stay red. Keep 2 things in mind. First, these aren't 9 seats that are deemed, quote, in play, unquote, through some election miracle. These are 9 seats currently held by Democrats where Republicans have the upper hand based on analysis of Tuesday's primary votes. Second, and this is very important to understand, with only one statewide ballot measure, the main draw was the Democratic presidential primary, in which Republicans may not vote. That means that even without the draw of a presidential primary choice, 9 seats showed Republicans either within striking distance or outright beating Democrats. That is amazing. And now, next and last item, which will lead me into my theme for today. Trump says what we're all thinking. There's something wrong with Joe Biden. At a Fox News town hall on Thursday evening, President Trump openly suggested that there's something fishy going on with Joe Biden. According to Trump, Biden's many gaffes could be a sign that he's simply not mentally competent. Super Tuesday, Trump said, came as a surprise to him. He was sure that Bernie was going to win, not only because the polls showed him in the least, but I think that should be the lead, showed him in the lead, but also because Biden is clearly having some mental issues. Quote, "We have this crazy thing that happened on Tuesday," unquote, Trump explained, quote, which Biden felt was Thursday. But he also said 150 million people were killed with guns and that he was running for the U.S. Senate, unquote. In other words, that is 3 gaffes all at once. When you have that many that close together, there has to be a problem with Biden. That's what Trump is saying, and that's what I think is getting more and more attention. That's something that I definitely see. I just see him just becoming less mentally capable, just a result of old age. Quote, "There's something going on there," unquote, the president concluded. The left-wing media are constantly giving confused Joe a pass, even when he confuses his wife with his sister, another gaffe. But Trump isn't going to do the same. Oh no, if Biden becomes the Democrats' nominee, he will be hammered time and again on his mental fitness, and rightly so, of course. It's obvious to anyone paying attention to this race that Biden has some very serious mental issues. This isn't about, quote, gaffes anymore, unquote. It's about Joe not being, quote, all there, unquote. And if you want another example, look at this video.
They're going to have a conversion on the road to Damascus. Because now you say, by the way, are you going to stick with the president on the following president, the last guy, on this issue?
What you just saw obviously actually happened. Joe Biden the former vice president could not remember the name of the president under whom or with whom he served for 8 years. To me, that is just shocking. And here I'm not being political. And I don't think Trump should be either. I think Trump should take a high road. If Biden becomes a nominee, he should say that it's regrettable that Biden's mental health is deteriorating and he is duty bound, Trump is, to bring the matter up, because it's a reason besides politics, besides policy, where Biden is just not up to the job and should not be president. But Trump should say, I have to bring this up. I'm going to have to attack Biden on this issue because the country is more important than Joe Biden's feelings. But I make these attacks with regret. That's what I think he should do. And to conclude this issue regarding Biden specifically, I'm going to go to a wider theme in a minute, but regarding Biden specifically, I remember the Reagan re-election campaign. There was an issue about Reagan's age, about whether Reagan was too old for a second term. Here's a little fact for you. Biden, if he wins, he will be older when he enters office than Reagan was when he left office. With that, I'll just say goodbye for today. Thumbs up if you like this video. Share it with anybody you think would also like the video. Got any comments? You can put them in the comment section below the video. You can also put any questions you might have, suggestions for future topics. I would love to have more subscribers, so subscribe. But finally, and most of all, come back and see me again. I look forward to seeing all of you again. And until I do see all of you again, bye.